again, everyone. I say again because I have made some videos in the past. They've since been deleted for being a little amateur and cringy. But hello again, my name is Chris Falk. Welcome to ChrisBits. This will be my inaugural video on this channel. I'm making this channel because I want to share with you, anyone that's interested in this stuff as I am, some of the interesting equipment I have here and the adventures I'll go down in testing it, preserving it, and sharing it with you all, the process of repairing it, and most above all, understanding it and understanding how it works and learning about electronics in the process, because this is a journey for me, and I'd hope for you that you would like to go down this journey with me and learn alongside me. Welcome to my temporary lab. I'm in between homes at the moment, and I'm currently working on making a nice dedicated lab space for all of myself and all of this crazy equipment sitting around me. Until then, it's going to be housed here, and anything that you see on this channel is going to be made here. Eventually though, you'll see a transition over to the new lab and hopefully an increase in video quality. This is all relatively new to me, so I hope you give me a little bit of leeway in the whole content making world. I'm working on it one day at a time. I've been working with vintage computers for many years now. I'm 19 years old. My name is Chris Falk. I'm an electronics major here in South Carolina. And this is my aspiration. I love working with electronics, and eventually I think I want to get into modern computing and possibly chip design. But until then, I love messing with vintage equipment. Just recently here, I've made some pretty interesting acquisitions. I have some equipment up here you may see, and down here, whatever. There's certain things that I've had, but just in the past week, I brought home a truck and a trailer load of equipment that I think you would be awfully interested in seeing. There are some interesting things in here from the 60s, 70s, mostly 70s and 80s. But there's a lot of interesting equipment, and I'd like to make this channel to step down the path of exploring it all, setting it up here on this bench, repairing it, seeing it working, demonstrating it, preserving this for all of you to see. And above all, understanding everything that I put on this bench, understanding how it works and everything that goes into it and the technology that built it and the history around it at that time. That's enough blabbering from me. I'd like to walk you around here, fortunately without a tripod, I'm sorry. But I'd like to walk you around here and show you some of the equipment that I've picked up. Before I get too deep into rambling, now what's going to be nonsensical rambling, I'd like to show you some of the projects that I can explain more about that I've been working on for a amount of time at this point, and that you will see in the future on this channel. There's some interesting ones, and I hope you'll like them a lot. First, I'd like to quickly show you, this is my home lab setup that I'm working on. It's not yet complete. I haven't loaded any software onto it. It's been a tedious process of acquiring the hardware that I've been looking for, assembling it, and all that. But you can see here we have 4 Brocade 48 port switches. These are gigabit switches with 10 gig SFP connections as well. Right down here, this is going to be the hypervisor for it. I'm building it specifically to be a low wattage unit. This is a quad Opteron render server, little PDU. This is the real machine in here. This is an HP ProLiant DL580 Gen 9, I think. Serious piece of equipment right here. This is a quad socket LGA 2011-3. So I have, gosh, I can't remember exactly what they are. I think they're 8890 V4 processors in here. It's going to be a total of 96 cores across 4 processors. It's also got plenty of X16 PCIe slots, so you can equip this with some serious compute power. And I'm excited to do some things with this. I think specifically it's going to be a virtualized gaming unit that streams throughout my home. But I'll still take you along the journey eventually if you're interested in setting this up, finish assembling it, and all that. Here's a server that I found in the woods and repaired. It works. Simple little metered PDU that I can view through my network, and a nice big Eaton UPS up on this server rack on roll-around wheels. A little wireless pickup point wired into it. But this is probably one of the least interesting things I'm going to show you today. Let's pan over to something much more interesting right here next to it. This is the project that I began working on, which unfortunately has now been shelved because of this equipment pickup. But you will be seeing this for certain on this channel. I've been acquiring documentation, software. I even found the expansion unit for it. This is an IBM AS400E Model 650. This is a top-of-the-line AS400E. It is a RISC-based system, reduced instruction set architecture. This runs OS 400. It can run a Java environment. It runs program languages such as COBOL. This is primarily a business machine, but nonetheless, we are going to work with it and we are going to get it up and running. We're going to run code on it, get it executing. This is an 8-way processor machine. It's a serious piece of equipment and I'm very excited. It weighs about 900 pounds. Here's the expansion unit that goes with it that provides the I/O for the machine. It's connected between the main tower and the expansion unit by 4 fiber optic cables. This is a serious piece of equipment. I'm very, very excited to have acquired this, and I'm even more excited to go down the journey of learning everything I can about it and getting it running and executing code here on this channel. I've shown you a couple of my cool projects. There's another one in the back. There's an IBM PS2 Model 60 that has just about every possible upgrade in it. That thing's a cool machine. I'll demonstrate that here on this channel as well. There's plenty of other systems up on this shelf I'll show you. But what I'm really interested in showing you at the moment is this pickup of machines that I've picked up yesterday. It's a whole trailer load, so it's gonna be a little bit of nonsensical, unscripted rambling. I think I'd like to start right here with this behemoth. Please allow me to give you some context here. Here's a modern 2.5-inch hard drive. Here is a 1982 or 84, not exactly sure, ST4384E. This is an ESDI 5.25-inch hard drive, 384 megabytes. This is an extremely large drive. You might find this in a 286 onward. Here's a hard drive. Oh yeah, she's a beast. I believe it's a 30 megabyte. It's a Fujitsu. Check it out. No head crashes. My only fear is I'm not exactly sure. I do believe these heads are meant to have been parked here before transport or anything. I hope that possibly hasn't caused any damage since they are riding on the platter. But I have inspected with a magnifying lens back in there. I do not see any head crashes. This drive looks viable. Extremely cool. This came out of a Sun Microsystems machine. I'm gonna assume a very, very large Sun Microsystems machine. The only damage that I can find to this is unfortunately it sustained a small hit here on this corner and cracked the PCB right here. Luckily, this is after the backplane resting in here. You can see 4 cards that slot into the backplane. And contains the traces only that move over to these 2 connectors. It should be repairable, although with a lot of work. Nonetheless, you will most definitely be seeing some content regarding this hard drive on my channel. It is enormous. I cannot wait to spin it up, of course, after properly cleaning and restoring it to the best of my abilities. Learning everything we can about it and hopefully doing it safely as to possibly mitigate any chance of it being damaged. Moving over a small bit, I don't know what I'm gonna do with 9 DECmate 3s, but these are digital equipment. These contain some really interesting components. These are essentially PDP-8s in a small box. These are extremely small. They couldn't be more than 5 inches by 10 inches by 12, but they are built like a brick. They're extremely heavy. They contain these really interesting floppy drives. These are single-sided 5.25 inch. You actually from what I understand, according to Usagi Electric, working on his DEC Rainbow. Speaking of, man, I love that guy. You absolutely have to check out his channel. He makes some awesome content, especially in regards to larger systems, mini computers, and more niche things. He's working on a Bendix G15. My God, that guy's awesome. Regardless, stepping back into my world. Interesting floppy drives. If you want to learn more about them, you can check out Usagi Electric's video on the DEC Rainbow. But I have 9 of these systems. I don't need 9 systems. I'm going to make sure these get in the hands of other hobbyists that are going to use them, and they will not be e-scrapped. But we will nonetheless be looking at least a couple of these on this channel and getting them working. I do have the associated monitors, which you'll see soon. And yes, checking out some digital equipment. Allow me to briefly show you what's up here too. Got a couple of printers from the 70s. Plenty of the, I think it's 9 or 10 of these HP 2392A monitors. These are kind of interesting. They tilt within their chassis. These are the digital monitors that go to the, DECmate 3s, excuse me. These are the digital monitors that go to the DECmate 3s. I have a few of those. There's a couple other digital monitors back there that are mismatched. I think they go to VT220 terminals. Right here, I have 2 VT240 terminals sitting right there. And I do have the accompanying monitors for those terminals, but they are damaged. The tubes are bad. The electronics may very well be able to be saved, but they would require new tubes. Moving over to the lab area, we got an Apple II here, accompanying disk drive. We got a Tandy 1000SX in pretty decent shape, actually. I'm excited to work on that one. I've worked on plenty of PC Junior stuff, and I'm excited to get this one going. You'll see a really interesting PC Junior on this channel as well. Within these cabinets are boxes on boxes of small parts, of cables, things I picked up, lots and lots of cabling. Down in these cabinets as well, more boxes of cabling. And just, I can't even begin to think what's in there. We're gonna have to dig through it, sort through it, understand what we have. Down here, we got a PS2 Model 30, a couple of IBM XTs and PCs. There's a couple clones as well. You can see one sitting over there. 3 iMacs. One of them's not in the greatest shape, but we'll get those going as well. In these boxes, we have some really interesting early laptops. There's even one from Zenith in there. A couple of Toshibas. Oh, man, I got multiple boxes of just chips on chips on chips. Processors, RAM, cache, TTL logic. Man, everything. We're going to have to go through these boxes as well. Tons of EEPROMs with BIOSes, random programs. I can't even begin to think what I'll find in there. Within these boxes and jars and such, we got plenty, oodles of connectors, lots of used and unused connectors, lots of valuable components like ZIF sockets, long-legged sockets, IC sockets, so much. Up there is a Smith Corona word processor. Here we have, I actually had this machine prior to acquiring this lab equipment. It's a 8088 clone, really interesting, great machine to work with. You'll see that one on here. We got to repair that monitor as well. That accompanies my PS2 Model 60 sitting there. There's a VLB 486, and above it is a PS Value, I think. It's an IBM 486. Sitting over here, we have a 5150, another PC clone. Actually, it looks like an XT clone. Moving down a little bit, we have some Apple machines. I believe these are Apple II CIs. I'm gonna have to look at them again. I'm not sure. Apple monitors, nice dirty grungy C64. Here's a 1541 disk drive, brand new in the box. TRS-80 Coco, VIC printer I do have a VIC-20, so we can demonstrate that, brand new in box. Man, so much other stuff. You see 4 TI-99 4As sitting over there. Boxes of software, so much. I'm not sure exactly how much of it's still good and readable, but we'll find out. Within these boxes are Sun equipment. There are some really interesting high-res coaxial output graphics cards in here that go to Sun machines. I'm not exactly sure. We're going to learn more about them, see what they go to, see if we can find that system, or if we can't, pass them on to collectors that can use them for what they're intended for. In this box, I'll come back to. This contains, I think you can see, ROLM. This is super interesting mil-spec IBM equipment from the 70s. That is also ROLM equipment that we'll talk about. Great big CRT right here. Down here we got software ribbon cables that go to a machine I haven't yet showed you. There's 3 of those monitors sitting down under there. Those are the monitors to the VT240 terminals. Those are all ruined. If someone would like those, claim them. They're yours. What else? We have some Apple hard drives, floppy disks. Let's pan you around to another area. All right, some more giant hard drives for you. These are super interesting as well. These are manufactured by a company called EMM. They are enormous, I believe 14-inch platter hard drives. They're labeled 5 megabytes, but I believe they are 5 megabyte fixed, 5 megabyte removable platter drives. Unfortunately with these, yes, they're nice and dusty and dirty, but the biggest malfeasance with these is that the heads were never, well, I suppose the heads are backed up, but this fixed platter was never removed. It was left open on both of them, as you can see. And that platter in there is nice and dusty, dirty. Probably extremely hard to see. But nice and dirty. I'm not sure those platters will live again. I'm hoping, I'm definitely getting my hopes up for the fixed platter down in there, but I'm not sure about that removable platter. They're nice and dirty. I know they're not quite as touchy as modern hard drive platters. There may be some way to clean them. I know there's a small amount of dust on them. You can spin purge them for a period of time. These are well past the spin purge. These would have to be removed and cleaned somehow. I don't even have the first clue how. If you have any recommendations, any of you, please leave them in the comments, and we'll see what we can do with these drives to get them restored, spun up, and working again. They're monsters. But once again, no head crashes on either of these. They may be salvageable. I'm at least very hopeful for the fixed platter portions of them. Very dirty. Everything here is going to require plenty of work and restore. But still, one piece of equipment at a time. See, I have 2 of them. Touching on ROLM. Down here is a great big card. It's a power supply, from what I understand. Actually, check that out. I haven't even noticed. ROLM Power Converter 47604. Great big board. I won't be showing you that one today. But in here, this is labeled ROLM CBX 700/800. There are tons of backplane cards in here. Hell, that might even be a disc controller. So much stuff. We're gonna go through it all. The extra special things you will definitely see on this channel. Please remember, this lot of things were expensive, and so a lot of it is going to have to be sold. More specifically though, the lesser things, not the lesser things, nothing is lesser here. This is all extremely interesting. But the more common things, the TI-99 4As, Commodore equipment, whatever it may be, this Apple equipment, I'm really interested on showing you guys things that are different, not things that you've seen before. There'll be content that you've seen before, but I want to focus on things that are different. This ROLM equipment is so interesting. I want to see if I can learn everything I can about it. I doubt we can get it working, as I don't seem to have the system in here. But maybe we can pass it on to someone that can get it working. Maybe someone has a system that this will slot into. Maybe someone just offers us knowledge that I can share with you. This is super interesting. Please do your own research on ROLM. they were a cool company. They were purchased by IBM at one point. They made mil-spec things. Now right here may or may not be the holy grail of this whole pickup. I'm not sure yet. Unfortunately, I don't have this system, but I'm sure it's one hell of a powerful, for the time, system. This is labeled ROM System Processor 2, model 41002. I can't find any information on this. Can't find hardly any information on ROM. As you can see here, it's Intel 8086 based, labeled 1978. But this is a processor board, brand new, mind you. Seriously cool. Brand new, sitting here in the shrink wrap. If anyone can use this, if anyone has information on what it goes to, please share. Please share. This is labeled ROM Hard Disk Drive Controller. Here is your hard disk controller here. We got a few ROMs. Man, look at this. This is some serious TTL logic. My God. The layout of these boards is beautiful. You may notice you have horizontal traces on one side, and I guarantee you if I flip it over, you're going to find vertical traces on the other. Check that out. Awesome 70s design. Huge backplane card. I gotta know what system this goes into. Please share any insights. I have one more card here labeled Compressed Voice Controller. That's interesting. Makes me think that this also came out of telecommunications. And this is very clearly a RAM card. I'm pretty sure this is what, 4256-15, so 15 nanosecond, 256 byte RAM chips. Awesome though. I gotta know what this thing comes out of. Throughout all this, me showing you around all these little boxes and machines that I have here, you may have seen boxes of assorted cards. More boxes of random cards. Down here especially, cards on cards on cards on cards. Cards from the 60s and early 70s. And you may notice they all slot into a backplane. They don't slot down into a motherboard. Let me show you what those go to. Well, you may notice it's still sitting in the trailer that I brought home from Georgia here. Oh man, I gotta be honest, I don't even know what it is. I haven't looked too hard into it yet, but it's one hell of a machine. It's labeled BBL at the top. I have another accompanying tower that goes along with this that's much smaller. The other blue box that you probably saw earlier in me guiding you around those hard drives. Please do not blame me for transporting it like this. This is the only way I could have brought it. It was raining at the time that I picked all this stuff up. Nothing that you see displaced, crooked, whatever, I didn't do any of that. It appears that whoever had this machine had taken cards out, slotted them back in, removed things. It's a mess, but nothing appears to be damaged. I should be able to reassemble this tower back into its original condition. I should have all the cards. As you can see, man, look at these gorgeous wire-wrapped backplanes back there. There's about 100,000 little ribbon cables hanging on the back of this thing. And let me go show you that other small blue box. Here's the other tower that came with it. Equally as interesting. Smaller cards, more wire-wrapped backplanes. Looks like a couple things are unfortunately missing from it. It did have a hard drive in it, as you can see, labeled Disk System Processor, and that card is not in there. I'm hoping I can find it in one of these boxes sitting over here, but I don't know enough about these yet. This is labeled Trunk Module, but we're going to take a long, deep dive, hard look at these things and figure out what they are, what they do, see if we can get them working and executing code. BBL Industries, Atlanta, Georgia. Innovative lines of communication. So I'm going to assume that these controlled telecommunications. But man, are they cool. And in regards to Big Blue over there, I think that's what we're gonna call it, that big old tower. It's pretty obvious that this is the tower that I've acquired. This is an actual picture of the system that came from. I'm not sure if we have everything we need to operate it. I don't know anything about it yet. Interesting that I have this system and a smaller tower, but we will find out more about it another time. We'll do an episode on it and focus it on it specifically, understanding it, seeing if it's anything we have is functional, it can be assembled, and eventually put power to it. But yes, this is the system.
Hey there, I'm sitting here editing this video, and well, I realized I forgot to film an outro. Nonetheless, here I am, and I'm saying goodbye to you. Thank you so much for watching. I don't expect you to have watched that whole thing, but if you did, my God, thank you. I really hope that you enjoyed walking around my garage checking all this equipment I picked up. Definitely turn on notifications. You don't have to, but if you do, expect to see some good stuff. I don't know exactly when I'll be uploading, but I promise that when I do, these videos will actually be scripted, much better produced, and I will use a tripod. I will not hold my phone as I am right now. All that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'm Chris. Thanks for watching ChrisBits.